Hello, I've had a specific request to talk about how qigong and mindfulness can help with insomnia, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. I've always said that these classes are yours, and I'm happy to talk about topics that are of interest to you. So, one of the most common comments I get from people when they come back for their second class is, gosh, I slept really well last week. Um, so I absolutely know that the things that I teach can be really good to help people sleep. So, um, what are the causes of insomnia? Well, there's not an awful lot that I can do about the very prevalent cause at the moment of the hot, muggy weather, which is really, not in anybody's control, apart from taking all the normal steps like, reducing your caffeine intake, keeping your fluid intake up, and making sure that your bedroom is well um, ventilated. If you manage to get hold of an air conditioning unit, having it on in the bedroom overnight could be very useful if it isn't too noisy. Um, there are certain physical steps that you can take. I mean, to be honest, um, good sleeping habits are, um, could be the topic of, a video, a separate video all by themselves. It's something that quite often crops up. Now, Qigong and mindfulness are not going to do anything about those sorts of things. But a very common cause of insomnia, whether it's hot or cold or whatever, is the fact that your mind is incredibly busy. And that's where mindfulness can be very helpful. The physical side of Qigong can also be very helpful. Now, there's probably some of you sitting there saying, well, it's not that physical, you're really only waving your arms around. Well, yes and no. If you are doing the moves, quote, properly, and you're engaging your core abdominal muscles, there is quite a high level of physicality. And certainly, I know that I can get extremely warm, and even on even the coldest day when I'm doing qigong. So there is a level of I'm doing physical activity, and so that is going to be beneficial. The main way, in my opinion, that qigong and mindfulness can help in insomnia is more mental than physical, which is the training that mindfulness gives you to not get worried about things. Now, you all know that if you're worried about something, you're constantly thinking about it and your mind is very busy. But that can be magnified if it's a hot night and you're lying there thinking, I'm hot, I can't get to sleep, I've got to go to work tomorrow, and that just sets up a self-fulfilling prophecy. It just goes round and round and round in an ever decreasing circle until you kind of slide completely into insomnia, which is obviously not good. So the mindful aspects of qigong and obviously the mindfulness meditation can be extremely helpful, not in clearing your mind, because that's not what mindfulness is about at all. Mindfulness is about being aware of what your mind is doing. And the second part being that when you realise your mind has drifted off into worrying about, oh God, I'm so hot I can't get to sleep, that you let that thought go and bring your mind back to focusing on your breathing. Yes, it takes discipline. Yes, it takes practice. Why do you think I do a class every week and suggest that you do something every day? Because when you practice it, when conditions are good, it's much easier to put into practice when everything is coming in on you and you're really stressed. On another level, insomnia can be seen as a symptom of something being wrong, which is blocking the energy flow through your body. And I've lost count of the number of times that I've said in these videos that traditional Chinese medicine sees everything, all illness, in terms of a blockage or imbalance of your energy flow. And by doing the moves, you actually keep your energy flowing properly, which by keeping energy flowing, it reduces the symptoms that you're experiencing. So that's another level on which I believe it can help. But I do genuinely feel that mindfulness is the best approach to this. And although obviously if you're doing the qigong, focusing on your breathing, you are quite naturally being mindful. When you talk about mindfulness, generally people tend to talk in terms of meditation, but I know that there are a group of people actually quite like me for whom the idea of sitting or lying still for 30 or 40 minutes to be mindful, I can do it, but it's not something I naturally do. And I have always regarded my qigong classes as a kind of walking or moving mindfulness meditation. However, there is one specific move that I teach in the Shibashi set, which is all about letting go, which is felt to be specifically beneficial for insomnia. So for the first time ever, I'm going to do something completely different in these classes. I'm going to teach you one specific move so that if you are, when you go to bed thinking, you feel that insomnia is going to be an issue, you can do this move before you go to bed, and then hopefully you can practice some of the mindfulness techniques that will at least help attenuate some of the effects of the heat that we're all suffering from at the moment. So I would like to invite you to get yourself into your nice open space where you're going to be doing the moves. And I think we will, I'm just looking at the time, I will teach you this move and we will then quickly go through a 4 or 5 move set. And then we will go into the meditation. So, this move is called balancing the ball, and it's one that my friend at Harvard will know better as the balloon move for reasons which will become obvious. So get yourself into a good bear stance. I'm not going to do the rooting and grounding yet. We'll do that before we do the proper step. So stand with your hands gently by your side, and I want you to try and get your hands slightly cupped as if you're holding a large ball. Now, there are 3 elements to this move. There's a dip on one knee, there's one hand rising up, and there is a turn from the waist. So I'll break the move down into all 3 first. So
Dip on your left knee, and I want you to turn gently from the waist to the left. But as you do, I want you to raise your right arm up with the palm upwards. That's all on the in-breath. And then as you breathe out, let everything come back to the middle. And you can guess what happens next. With the next in-breath, you dip on the right knee, turn to the right slightly, and raise the left hand. And on the out-breath, it all comes back. So let's try and put it all together. As you breathe in, dip on your left knee, turn from the waist and raise your right arm. And as you breathe out, everything just comes back to the middle. And then you can do the same on the other side. And then just bring your weight back to the middle. This move is called letting go. And remember I said to imagine that you were holding a balloon in your hand. I do that so that you kind of keep your hand in the right energetic shape. But I call it the balloon move. And what you can do is on the in-breath, as you raise your hand up, if you visualize you've got a balloon on your hand, on the out-breath, just imagine that balloon floating off your hand and floating up into the air. There's a stress management technique that I sometimes teach people, which is literally to imagine letting go of worries and stresses by releasing a balloon. You release the balloon, it floats up away from you, and as it does, it takes that feeling with it so that as the feeling goes further and further away, you feel it less and less. Now, if you have a specific issue that you know is worrying you before you go to bed, you can repeat this move 6 times, 8 times, 10 times. And every time you release the balloon, just imagine yourself getting rid of the feeling that your worries is going to keep you awake. Whether that feeling is worry about the heat, worry about insomnia, worry about moving house or schoolwork, or how your child's doing at school, or the big bill that's just come in, absolutely anything like that. You can just use that as a visual image to say, right, I'm letting go of that. Because when we worry about things, we hold on to them. And being frank, ladies and gentlemen, there's not an awful lot that you can do about finding a new place to live, helping your child at school, paying the bill, or anything else that's on your mind in the middle of the night when you're supposed to be sleeping. It does not profit you to lie there worrying about it. You need to, and you will be able to deal with the issue much, much more proactively in the morning when you've actually had some sleep. Which is why I love this image of just letting it go. So you just let the thought go and drift up like a balloon. And I sometimes added an extra bit to the visualization, which is that at the end of the move, you can just stand there in their stance and just imagine those balloons drifting up higher and higher and higher until they get to a place where the air is so thin that they just burst. And with that bursting, you can imagine that you give those worries up to the angels, to God, to the universe, to the Tao, whatever your personal belief system is that helps you to cope with anxiety. I'm strictly spiritually neutral when I do these. I have my own belief system, but it's not my role to impose it on others. But that idea of letting go and letting some higher power or the world or the universe just absorb your troubles is one that I think that most people can relate to. Okay, we will just quickly go through the regular moves that we do. So, feet together and we'll bow in. And get yourself into a good bear stance. You know how to do that by now, I hope, but I'll talk it through for anyone who this is the first video. Feet to hips width apart, knees very slightly bent, back nice and straight. Engage those core abdominal muscles with a slight pelvic tilt. Neck nice and straight. Chin slightly tucked in so that it's actually parallel with the floor. Send your attention down to your feet and make sure that your weight is evenly distributed across your feet. And then just imagine that you're in that beautiful glassless cage. And we're slowly, slowly drifting down, floor by floor by floor, until you reach the ground or as close to the ground as you feel comfortable with. And turn your hands so that your palms are facing backwards. With your next in breath, just slowly let your arms float up in front of you. And as you breathe out, they just slowly sink down. Find your own breath and your own rhythm with these moves. Only move your arms as far as you can easily manage in one gentle, easy breath. Don't force anything. And always work within 70% of your maximum capacity, so that you should not be causing yourself any pain or discomfort anywhere in your body by doing these moves. And if you are, find a position and a movement that doesn't cause problems. Breathe in, let your arms float up. As you breathe out, let them sink down. And then last time for this move, and this time as you breathe in, your hands float up and turn your palms in and let them spread out. As you breathe out, they just relax back in and back down. Let the movement be driven by the expansion of your chest as you breathe in and by the relaxation as you breathe out. Breathe in, your arms float up and spread out, and as you breathe out, they float back in and back down. And then the last time for this move. And with your next in breath, raise your arms up to form the arch. And as you breathe out, sit gently on your left knee and let your right arm float down to parallel with the floor. As you breathe in, bring everything back to the center. And do the same on the other side. on one knee, the opposite arm floats down, and as you breathe in, everything comes back up. And then last time for this move, you breathe in, bring everything up to the centre, and turn your palms out. As you breathe out, let your arms sweep down by your side. And with the in-breath, let your arms float up again. Breathe out, and they float down. And you can imagine that you're pushing away any clouds that surround you. Or you can imagine that as your hands sweep down, you feel like a cake mixer, and you're mixing up the energy all through your body, making sure that it's all evenly mixed and evenly balanced. Breathe in, let your arms float up. Breathe out, and they float down. And then last time for this move, breathe in, they rise up. And this time as you breathe out, just bring your hands into position, ready to balance your chin. As you breathe in, imagine you're smoothing around that small ball, and as you breathe out, imagine you push it underwater. Make it a small move, bring your hands no higher than your thighs. Breathe in, smooth round the ball, breathe out and push it underwater. And last time for this move, smooth round the ball, but this time just let your hands naturally come to rest in front of your abdomen. And just for a moment, close your eyes, stand very still and just let everything settle. Just find that peaceful and calm place and just let everything settle. And when you're ready, get yourself into position for the mindfulness meditation. And the beginning and end of the meditation will be signalled by the sound of the singing bowl. When you've got yourself settled, I'd like to invite you to follow the sound of the singing bowl as it fades away. Sound fades into silence. I want you to feel that silence and stillness settle into you. In that silence and stillness, I'd like you to become very aware of where your body is supported by the bed or the chair. Really become aware of any difference in textures that you can feel. Really be aware of how your body sinks in to the bed or chair. Maybe imagine gravity pulling you in. And as that gravity pulls you in, feel yourself just relax. Feel your shoulders relax a little bit more. Then I'd like to invite you to bring your attention to your breath. Now, breathing is something that happens completely automatically normally. And I don't want you to actively control your breath
I just want you to let yourself breathe normally, but to be aware of every in-breath and every out-breath. I want you to try to notice what you feel with every in-breath and every out-breath. Just let your attention rest with any part of your breath that comes most strongly to your attention, whatever that is. Whether it's the movement of air or movement of muscle, just let your attention rest there. Now, because you have a normal human mind, the chances are that you're going to notice that your mind wants to wander away. Well, that's okay. Mindfulness is not about clearing your mind. It's about noticing what your mind is doing. And if it's drifted away to something that you don't want to think about, all you need to do is just to anchor your mind, your breath, your mind into your breath. So as many times as you notice your mind has wandered away, you can acknowledge the thought, but then gently lead your mind back to focusing on the simple act of breathing in and breathing out. Because right here, right now, nothing is more important than focusing on just this breath coming in, just this breath going out, just this breath coming in, just this breath going out. As many times as your mind tries to wander away, just as many times lead it back. And every time you do, congratulate yourself. Because every time you notice what your mind is doing, you are succeeding in being mindful. Every time you lead your mind back to focusing on every in-breath and every out-breath, you are succeeding in being mindful. If you find that your mind wants to wander off a lot, I don't want you to criticize yourself. There's nothing wrong with you. I just want you to accept that that's where you are at the moment. Just gently lead your mind back to focusing on every in-breath and every out-breath. Because whatever is going on only has to be dealt with in this moment, and in this moment, and in this moment. Whatever is going on can only be dealt with in the moment, right here, right now. So wondering what might happen in the next moment or tomorrow doesn't help. Just let your mind rest in this moment and focus on your breath. And maybe try and find that moment in the middle of each breath when there is no movement and everything is still. And maybe as you breathe, imagine that stillness spreading through your body and into your mind in a way that means that you can Just relax. Maybe imagine a wave of relaxation and stillness spreading through your whole body as you breathe. Take 3 or 4 gentle, easy breaths. Imagine that feeling of stillness and relaxation spreading through your whole body. And then, just for a moment, have the whole of your body in your awareness. And notice how good it feels with that feeling filling your whole body. Then I'd like you to let your focus come back to your breath just for a moment. Once again, let your focus be on every in-breath and every out-breath. And then slowly, let your attention spread out so that you become aware once more of where your body is in the chair or on the bed. Become aware of the room and everything in it and the sounds both inside and outside the room. And then when you're ready, slowly bring yourself back to normal awareness by opening your eyes. But as you do, keep in the front of your mind the thought that you can recall this wonderful feeling simply by anchoring your thoughts and your mind into the simple act of breathing. If insomnia is a particular problem for anyone watching, I do hope that you found that helpful. If that triggers any more questions about dealing with insomnia or other things qigong can help with, or any questions about qigong and mindfulness, do please feel free to PM me or leave a comment underneath this video. If you have any suggestions for what you'd like me to cover in next week's video, the same thing applies. In the meantime, I hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope you will enjoy the rest of your day. And I will see you next week.